Have a fun one today. What's good, everybody? Are we there? Are we there? You got to be kidding me. Are we live, Mike? You good? We're good? All right. I can't say anything, but we're good. We're good. Welcome into the Coach and Company podcast. I am the coach. We're here to support the morning show every single day. If you missed any of Coach and Company this morning, I encourage you on demand. We had our rants. Big Tommy C, Raphael, Mikey P, and myself. Do not forget this afternoon, 2 to 4 Eastern time. It is Off the Ropes on channel 156. Plenty of wrestling news there. And also, if you missed Monday, catch our episode before our next one tomorrow at 11 a.m. On the Stadium Network. Let's bring in Mikey P because we got a lot to talk about today. And sometimes, Mikey, you just have something that just falls in your lap. And we were about 15 minutes from the end of the show this morning, and we had breaking news come across our BTT news desk, and it was the owner of the Buffalo Bills, Terry Pegula, who was meeting with the media for the first time since firing Sean McDermott a couple of days ago after losing in Denver in the playoffs to the Broncos. There's a lot to unpack here. And first and foremost, you normally don't see an owner say, well, if they would have won, he wouldn't have gotten fired, which I guess makes sense, Mikey, because they'd be playing in the AFC Championship game again. But basically, he alluded to their playoff history as the reason that they fired Sean McDermott. He unpacked a lot of things here. He took shots at the GM. He took shots at players. He took shots at – have you ever seen or heard an owner basically go scorched earth 3 days after firing a beloved head coach?
No, this is one of the wildest owner press conferences I've ever seen in NFL history. By the way, that GM you mentioned just got a promotion, so figure that one out if you can. I don't know what's going on. And Coach, I'll take this a step further. What would the reaction have been if they made it to the AFC Championship game and failed? I believe, given today, McDermott would still be fired. I'm going to take it one more step further. They go to the Super Bowl and they don't win. I still believe McDermott could have been fired because that is the kind of characteristics Pegula was showing today.
He's got a, his family's high level performers. He's got a daughter, top 5 in the world, I believe she still is, in tennis. They not only own the Bills, they own a lot of other things. They're getting ready to build, I think most of it's on their own dime, the new stadium that's going to open up this fall. And whenever you build a new stadium or whenever you build a new arena, that putting in there tons of skyboxes, tons of things that you need to sell. And as much as Mafia loves their Bills, you've got to sell probably 100 of those to high-level people that are probably a little pissed that they lived. If you're a high-level financial guy, Mikey, you're probably 60 or older, let's say. So you lived through the 90s and 4 straight trips to the Super Bowl with this many wins. And now you've got a guy, Jim Kelly was, and you can't get there. You can't win there. I don't the sentiment. I just kind of disagree with the owner saying it. Is that possible for me to say that? Crazy.
No, I think the thing is more than any other team, and Coach, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but in my belief is that in Buffalo, that's a community driven by football. We know that these 32 teams in the NFL, their cities love and adore their football teams. But when you think Buffalo, you think wings and Buffalo Bills. That's it. Nothing else matters to the city of Buffalo. So I feel in a way, not only is it personal for the owner, he's trying to speak on half of the entire city. It's not a good look at all. And when you talk about that new stadium, if you need to sell all these new things, then why are you keeping the same candidates, guys that don't move the needle, as your leading candidates for your next head coach? You've got to make a splash.
They've had some bad, I don't want to use bad hires, but Sean McDermott was not a super popular guy in the league. You've got these high-level assistants like Ben Johnson was, that his name was there for 3 or 4 years. He waited and then got his. And then you've got guys like a John Harbaugh who get fired high level, and then the Giants pay him $20 million a year. So it's 2 different ends. I compare Buffalo to a Green Bay, to a Kansas City, to a Nashville, where they're not super big cities, but they have an identity. And when you have your identity, Mikey, and there's been no Super Bowl titles, zero. I think that Mr. Pagula just got pushed to the edge, and he said, probably in a room with a lot of his closest confidants, and they said, Terry, let's move. You said they should have a splash. Who would be a splash for you?
I don't think there's a splash exists anymore because Harbaugh's off the market, Stefanski's off the market. I don't have a name to present to you, but what I don't agree with, I'll go the opposite way here. Joe Brady and Brian Dable should not be the top leading candidates. Mike McCarthy shouldn't even be in the conversation. And with those three names, I would be infuriated as a Buffalo Bills fan, investor, whoever. It can't be one of those three, in my opinion.
Just imagine if you are a high level assistant coach in the league right now. And I've been friends with Coach Phil for many, many, many years. And he was an assistant with the Bills, with the Chargers, with the Dolphins. And it's such a hard thing to climb the ladder. And when you get that last call, you go from probably 700 grand to 1.5 million. All of a sudden, now in today's day and age, Mikey, well, Harbaugh's 20. That's way, way up there. But probably for a new coach, we're talking 6 to 10. That's a huge jump. So when you see a Brian Dable or you see a Joe Brady and you go, wait a second, when is it my time? When is it going to be me? Because Robert Saleh just got hired, Kevin Stefanski just got hired, John Harbaugh, just like that. It would almost feel like to me, wouldn't it to you, that no matter what I do, if I'm not in the good old boys club, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's where if I was going to think of a name that I believed in, as you were talking, he came to the forefront of my mind, and that's Marcus Freeman. But if you're Marcus Freeman, is the Buffalo Bills job more enticing when, like you said, if what happens if I fail here? How quickly are they going to fire me? And where do I get my second chance in the NFL? And I think sometimes high level college coaches have to think about that. If I failed my first time and I haven't been a part of these NFL circles, do I have to go back and find something lower at the college level? And that won't work for him.
Well, I think for him though it would work because you got to remember these are all guaranteed deals. So if Marcus Freeman goes to the NFL, he would command over $10 million a year for at least 5 years. So we're talking over $50 million guaranteed. So if it didn't work out, who gives a shit? He can go sit on the beach for all I care. And that's how I would look at it if I was Marcus Freeman. Now he's already said he's not going, but we also didn't know that the Buffalo job was going to be coming open. And to me, this one is the most attractive job over the Steelers, certainly, because you have Josh Allen. You've got the best quarterback in the league at your disposal. If they get the right guy, do they still have enough to be in that window of upper echelon AFC teams?
I think the new coach has to come in and immediately set his demands in place for the roster. You absolutely know, especially given today, the Keon Coleman comments, you need a wide receiver one. You need a big bodied, what Josh Allen had in Stephon Diggs, you need a new one in Buffalo for him to throw to, plenty of other weapons. You also need to solidify that defense. So it shouldn't be hard. I do agree with you that right now, if you want to make an impact on your coaching career, Buffalo is the better job. Steelers is good if you're looking for a new start. But if you want to make an impact immediately, get a wide receiver one, solidify your defense, and build your era up and your dynasty, your legacy up with Josh Allen.
It's fascinating. It's absolutely fascinating. Um, Mike Greenberg, this was just sent to me by producer man, said this on X. The leadership of the Buffalo Bills has done the impossible this morning. They made the opportunity to coach a team with Josh Allen as the quarterback less appealing. I mean, Greeny is not a hot take guy. He's a journalist and probably the most respected um, voice at ESPN long term. Busting with the boys. Brian Dable is expected to land in Tennessee as their next offensive coordinator if he cannot secure the Bills head coaching job. That's per my girl, Diana Rossini from The Athletic. Uh, uh, it's interesting. Very, 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 very interesting. This this might be the most fascinating offseason, Mikey, that we maybe ever seen in the NFL. I don't know that a job has ever been open that has the best quarterback in the league in it. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't remember because normally it's bad teams that fire their coach. But it kind of, as we move into the next part of this conversation, it begs the question, are we starting to see these high level owners, these super wealthy who love nothing more than to win? Are they now not okay with the narrative that's been driving me insane for the last 5 years? He's never had a losing season. Well, that was 8-8 for a long time before it was 17 games. Then it was 9-8. And I think I agree with this morphing into, if you're going to be this good and I'm going to go out there and get you all of these great players, if I'm going to pay taxes on going over certain things and break all of the thresholds, I want a chip. I want a ring during those 10 to 12 years that I have Josh Allen. I don't think that's too much to expect, or you should expect to see the door.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's, the age old saying, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And these owners don't want to do that anymore. I look at New England as the perfect example for how a high level owner functions and operates in Robert Kraft. You had all this success, you had all this winning. And when Brady left, it's, we're going to need a few years. It's going to be a while. We're not going to be the Patriots of old anymore, but I'm going to get my guy first in Gerard Mayo. And everyone's like, wow, Gerard Mayo, I like it. You're kind of keeping the history, the culture. The moment Mike Vrabel, a proven winner, a proven leader of men, becomes available, hey, Gerard Mayo, thanks. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your contributions. We're going to go get the guy who better helps us establish ourselves immediately. The Patriots would not be where they are right now, even with the talent, if they still had Gerard Mayo. And Robert Kraft identified he needs a leader immediately to turn it around. And that's what they got.
Yeah, he's an owner too that when you're super, super wealthy and you're a billionaire, that's what I would do. Is he made the change because they needed to and said, you know what? If it's going to cost me, and they weren't paying Gerard Mayo that much. They 4 or 5 billion. That to a billionaire, if you got to write a check for 15, okay. If you're the Raiders, you're paying 5 coaches right now at the same time. That's the difference. Kraft will spend needs to, not or when he has to, not because he feels like it is absolutely necessary. And that's what made him a great coach, and that's why they potentially could win another Super Bowl in the next couple of years. The Steelers' job, if you just dropped in from Mars, Mikey, and Pittsburgh was open, and they're one of to what I call blue bloods, the Steelers, the Cowboys, and the Packers, 49ers. Those are my 4 blue bloods. Why isn't that opening being talked about more?
Just the lack of quarterback position in 2026. That's where we're at in the NFL. The football world, because you see it in college football when transfer quarterbacks are getting paid $5 million. Right now, there is no answer to who the Steelers will have under center going into 2026. But if I may, I'll give you a name, coach, and that's Chris Shula. The coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams, one of these high-level assistant coaches you talked about, who has an opportunity to go to a historic franchise, identify either on the veteran market or in the draft which quarterback he wants to attach his legacy to and run with it. And I think that's the way to go if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think that's they've always been. There's only been 3 coaches since 19 something like that. It's the most insane stat in pro sports. They do not fire guys, and they did not fire Mike Tomlin. He walked away with 2 years left on his deal, and I don't know how much he was making, but I'm guessing that you couple the fact that the Steelers have never been about paying top dollar, but he's also been there for 18 years. So my guess is he's making it between 10 and 15. So he walked away from $20 million a year minimum to not coach the Pittsburgh Steelers. So to get a name, I don't think a lot of people know who Chris Shula is, but they know the name. They know the last name. And that might be enough for Pittsburgh. So we'll have to wait and see. One other little thing before we get out of here today is the Baker Mayfield situation, because it ties in to this coaching situation. Kevin Stefanski, who is, I believe the deal's just about done. He's going to be the next head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. And Baker Mayfield went on Twitter, and he it was like just some random person who basically took a shot at him, and he came back and he's like, I was thrown out like hot garbage, was what he said. And I can't wait to play him 2 times a year. And I don't think I've ever seen a coach that has been more protected by the media than Kevin Stefanski. I didn't see one writer, not one analyst, not anybody that said maybe he wasn't a good head coach. Instead, he's a hot commodity. He had crap to deal with. He had Shedeur Sanders. He had Baker Mayfield. He had, Deshaun Watson. What's he supposed to do? Mikey, his record in Cleveland was abysmal. He had like 6 choices when he walked out the door. Maybe we're missing something.
No, we're not. We're absolutely not. We're talking about a guy who had Myles Garrett on defense. If you have one of the greatest players of all time, and that's who I believe Myles Garrett is on the defensive side of the football field, you can't have all these built-in excuses. It's kind of funny to me how Baker Mayfield had a career resurgence after leaving Cleveland, bouncing around, kind of finding his way. I'm actually excited to see not only who the Browns bring in, but if they do remain with Shedeur Sanders, what his career looks like. If I'm the Atlanta Falcons, I'm going, is Michael Penix your guy? And if I'm Michael Penix, I'm going, where's the question marks with this guy, Baker? Because I need to have a resurgence year if I'm Michael Penix. And if you're saying all these things about my new head coach, I got some things to figure out.
It's funny, too, when you talk about Shedeur Sanders. It's going to be interesting because, we disagree. A lot of people are disagreeing. There's people on both sides of the fence. Hell, I just looked to my left, and one of the topics on First Take today was, is Mendoza a good fit for the Raiders? Well, there's a lot of other teams that could use a quarterback that may not think that they need a quarterback. And if you compare Shedeur Sanders, who had some pretty decent games towards the end of the season, made some dumb mistakes. If I put Mendoza up next to Shedeur Sanders, who is a 5th-round pick, to me, Shedeur Sanders looks better than him. And that's how I would be comparing what I would give up. The beautiful part for our disagreement is that we're going to get to see. And I will happily eat crow if I am wrong. But let's make it like a 5-year thing for us, that we look at the end of 5 years. Where do you think Mendoza and or Shedeur Sanders will be in said 5 years?
In 5 years, well, I hope we're still talking and working together in 5 years. I mean, I believe Shedeur Sanders will be absolutely the leader of those two in 5 years from now. And Coach, I'm not saying trade away the number 1 pick to get him, but let me just do a little can I have a little chaos moment here? Why don't we trade Shedeur Sanders to the Raiders? Let's hire Dion. Let's bring the Sanders to Vegas. You have a whole reality series about it. The Raiders can trade down, or they can select a defensive player with number 1. And then Cleveland has Deshaun Watson and who else? I would love it, though.
He is definitely going to be healthy next year, and they're still paying him. I mean, that still blows my mind. When I read it, I thought it was a joke. I mean, it's even if it would have been Tom Brady, I would have thought it was a joke. But the fact that Deshaun Watson, with all of that stuff going on, talked any human being walking God's green earth to pay him over $200 million guaranteed. Banana land. All right, we got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow morning on the morning show at 10 a.m. Eastern time on Stadium, on YouTube, and on social media. For you wrestling fans, catch me this afternoon 2 to 4 Eastern time on channel 156. And the Coach and Bro Show on demand at our BTT YouTube channel. For Mikey P, producer man, I am the coach. Follow all of us, all of our pages to cover all of these incredibly entertaining and fascinating stories on the daily. I am the coach. We'll see you tomorrow.